Well, hello, sports fans. It's Larry Eder. This is Socialing the Distance, and our featured athlete is Raevyn Rogers. She's the 2019 World Champion 800 silver medalist, and she is the 2018 World Champion 4x4 gold medalist relay member. And in 2015, she was the Pan Am 800-meter champion, correct? Did I miss anything, Raevyn?
I think that's probably correct.
Okay, all right. Great seeing you. So you're in Portland now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And who are you being coached by?
So I am currently being coached by Pete Julian.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
And now you went to school in Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
So then you just had to move up to Portland, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How do you like Portland?
I love it. My mentor, she lives here, and so when I was in Eugene, she was kind of like a second mom to me. So I would spend Thanksgiving with her and her family. I'd drive up and spend Thanksgiving with her and the family. And yeah, I mean, it's more waterfalls up here. I like kind of, discovering what Oregon has to hide in the nature. So I'm really liking it up here.
Cool. Now, COVID-19 pandemic, Oregon was one of the first to lock down, and you guys have done pretty darn well. You've had a couple little ups and downs, but people seem to be following it pretty good. What's your day like during the COVID pandemic?
So, I mean, definitely wearing a mask, not leaving the house without a mask. And then I would just say going to practice, having whatever days I have to go to practice, and sometimes going to get like treatment or getting work done for massage. But lately I've just been organizing my home because my house stuff just came maybe last Monday. So wow. I've been doing that this whole time and practicing, of course.
Cool. Now, how long does your practice take each day?
Practice is about 2 hours? I would say 2 hours. Mm-hmm.
Are you doing high quality work right now, or is it more kind of developmental, or what's the approach right now with not knowing where the season's going?
Right. So I feel like the biggest thing for me has just been adjusting. Between me and Pete, we're just trying to get to know each other. And of course, Pete is trying to see, areas that I lack in and kind of strengthen those areas just in time to maybe race, maybe. But so far it's just been about adjusting and just trying to see and take little steps to see how fit I am in certain areas.
Okay, so here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a 400 runner who likes to race the 800, or are you an 800 runner who likes to do the 400?
I'm an 800 that likes to do the 4.
Okay. When you were in college, you did the 800,
yes.
But you're known for those gut-wrenching 4x4s, which I looked at the video still and I would go, oh my God, make me a nervous wreck. I don't know how you did it. The question I always wanted to ask you, and I didn't ask you in Doha, did you have to get yourself pumped up for the 4x4, or were you just so into it by the time your leg came?
I am always eager when the 4x4, especially when I'm last leg, or just whenever I'm whatever leg I am. But speaking more so on last leg, it's always that type of, because I could just reflect to pin relays, the swim medleys where I was the last leg there. And it's just this type of excitement and anticipation of waiting and waiting to get the baton, but also seeing everybody run. And then it just comes down to you doing your part. And I mean, I've been running since I was 5, so I've done a lot of relays. Other than just what I've done in college and professionally, I've done a lot of relays. And so I still get that same feeling that it's time, and just really excited and eager to get the baton.
When Coach Johnson coached you at Oregon, did he get excited before events, or was he this totally mellow guy?
Coach Johnson was really mellow. The thing I really liked about Oregon and just Coach Johnson was just that essentially when you go to college, you never, anybody would tell you, you never just do the event that you went there for. And that's what I really liked because I didn't do a lot of 800s, just 800s at every meet. It was more fun being able to try different events. Even our base training, we trained with the sprinters. All of us were together during fall training doing the same thing. And so that's when I learned like sprint techniques and mechanics in certain areas that play a big part in my 800 as well. And so that's just going back to the question. I just really like that it was never like you're strictly this athlete and this is the group you need to be in and this is what middle distance runners do or distance runners. It was a little more flexibility, just dibbling and dabbling in different events.
When you competed in Birmingham in 2018 in the World Indoor, good crowd, very crowd into it, but more DQs than I have ever seen in an indoor meet in my life.
Right.
What was that about back then? Do you remember? Was it just a lot of people didn't have the experience that some of you had on the boards and not knowing when to cut in and stuff?
No, there were really strict rules, like really strict rules. And they really emphasized the rules, like to the T. I think there was multiple rules, not only the cutting over, but if you stepped on the line too many times, something that normally, you understand if it's outdoors. Like, for example, if you do have a relay and then you step on the line. But this was indoors, which everyone knows is a little bit more compact. And especially when you have taller runners, it's going to make you, not, subconsciously to step on the line, or it's not like you're focusing on not stepping on the line. But they were so strict at that indoors that people really had to pay attention. And they were literally, the officials were paying attention to the T. And that's why there were so many DQs.
I think there was, if I remember, I was looking at my notes the other day, I thought it was like 46 DQs.
It was insane.
I'd never seen, I actually remember asking Lord Coe about it, and he just said, those are the rules. He was smart enough to stay out of it. Okay. So you got your gold medal at the in the 4x4 in Birmingham, and then you got this wonderful silver medal in Doha.
Yes.
And everybody's blown away about how fast you moved over that last 100.
Right.
Can you take us through that race again and just kind of tell us what was going on in your head?
Right. So, at the beginning of the race, of course, going into the race, I remember my coach at the time just asking, I was wondering what race plan were we going to do? And he just said, just do what you want to do. And that's what I did. I went back to my childhood. And, when I was younger, before I started kind of moving a little bit running a little more smarter, I used to always go at the 200, which is tiring, but I would a hard kick from the 2, or at least gradually into it. And so, at that time, I knew I didn't want to be 57. I didn't want to be going through the first lap that fast, just because I know what type of runner I am. And I didn't realize how far back I was. And so once they started picking it up, going into the second lap, onto the 300, that's when things were moving a little bit. And I realized, they're actually moving. They started moving a little earlier. And then I just remember I had a point in my mind before I ran the race that I knew for sure, just going through rounds where I would get tired and where I wanted to go. And that's when I just went, because I knew that I didn't want it to be too much into the curve because the straights were so long. So I wanted to make sure it was a little bit going into the straight, if not on the straight, because I knew the straights were really, really long. And so once I hit that mark, that's when I just went.
Did you feel people coming back to you over the last 75 meters?
No. If anything,
you feel Jay starting to come back to you?
If anything, I just had a lot of faith into that last 100, just because they were already into the 100 when I was coming off of the curve. And so all I could do is just, trust God and have faith that I did at the end of the day what I wanted to do, and I ran the way I knew I could run, and that's what resulted me to getting so close to the front.
Had you raced against the two young Ugandan women that did so well? Did you ever race against?
I ran against I think I ran against both of them at Monaco, maybe.
Okay.
But I knew for sure I ran against Winnie in the Diamond League final. So I believe Winnie ran more than I forgot the winner's name. But Winnie, I saw Winnie more during the season. But they both ran in Monaco, I think.
Now, do you have any races planned now for the next? I know stuff's up in the air because like and the Paris meet just got canceled on Friday.
Right.
Are there any meets you're looking at? Are you doing Monaco? Are you doing Stockholm? Where are things for you right now?
I think Pete and I are just trying to figure out just which will be better in regards to where I am physically. Just because this is an adjustment compared to what I've been doing. And so, and not only what I've been doing, but, we're still in the global pandemic. So, after, before they even, I would say for 3 months, a lot of athletes probably can relate to being at a state of confusion of what to do, still kind of conditioning, but not really putting into effect for a season. And so, with adjusting to that, as well as workouts that a base that I've already established in the past, we're just trying to figure out, right now as far as adjusting, and then figuring out when would I be ready to be able to compete if we even choose to go that route. How
is the way Pete is training you different than your experience in the past?
So Pete is very technical. He pays attention to a lot of details, and it's sometimes details that, it's most of the time details that you don't really pay attention to, but because he's very passionate about his job and dedicated to what he does, he definitely tries to fix anything that could make a difference, whether it's a big difference or a small difference. It's still a difference, and I feel like that's more so his mindset is just fixing, little things here and there just to eventually, come to the way that he wants me to be running.
And you're training with the group with Donovan Brazier, Constance Fosterhoffen, Craig Ingalls.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else is.
Jessica Hall.
And is Stefan Hassan with the group too?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it mostly 800 and 1500 types in your group?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you guys meet as a group? Is it once a day?
It depends. Right now, P and I just have decided to do a lot of one-on-ones. I met with the group a little bit more earlier, but just right now, to make sure that we're getting everything that we both need from each other, I think a one-on-one has just been working better for me.
Now, are you working on the campus, or have you found a local school to work out at?
Sometimes we're at the campus, but sometimes we are just somewhere else, that like a park or something. Yeah, but my adjustment this year has just been a little bit shaky. Just as far as training wise and trying to be a little more consistent. But we have been at both the track and parks and other schools and stuff.
Sure. Mm-hmm. During your downtime, you're telling me you just got your furniture, so you're trying to get your place set up. But do you have a favorite Netflix series you're watching, or any music you're listening to right now?
I haven't been, so I don't have my Wi-Fi set up. I don't have my Wi-Fi set up, and I'm waiting on Donovan to mount my TV. So I haven't been watching anything lately. just more so been taking trips to the Container Store to organize everything. I've been getting out a little more, you know, going to the coast, went to the coast one time, and then going downtown a little bit. Just I've been more outside than inside, other than just unpacking and stuff.
How do you stay motivated during the pandemic?
So I would say it's definitely tough. It's tough, especially with all these adjustments that I'm having to make. But the way I see it is that, you know, it's something that is a responsibility. You still have to uphold your responsibility part of it. And this is my job. And so I've kind of chose to choose the fun side of things and take the positive route, which is, you know, this is a great opportunity and new adventures, a lot of new things that I'm learning about myself. And that's what's motivated me, because I'm working on things that I haven't worked on in the past, that I'm still being exposed to new things, and those little things make a difference. And so I've just taken the approach of enjoying the process and the learning route, just about everything, and really taking time to just take all of this in. And that's what's kept me motivated to just keep training. And my training partners, they're silly, they're goofballs, but they're all great people too. So they make training cool.
Now, your transition, was that moving from Eugene to Portland, or was there a place in between?
So I was in Philadelphia before.
Okay. Were you training in Mariel?
No. So I think Mariel is here in Portland. But I was, right. And so I was there with Shar, Najee, and Angel Picarillo. And
okay. Cool. Yeah, I remember there was a really neat article and lovely photos of you all about a year ago. I just thought it was one of the nicest things that a non-track magazine I'd ever seen done. And it was really classy. I thought it was very, very cool. Why did you decide to make the move from Philadelphia to Portland?
So I chose to move because I feel like I'm constantly evolving, whether that's mentally, physically, whatever. And with growing, with evolving, I feel like my needs are different, or my priorities are different. And so I chose to come back to more of my mentor's here, so it's definitely a little bit more support while, and a little bit more, I guess family comfortability, you know, more people that I know. I mean, my mentor being here, she plays a huge part in just the family feel. And that's most of the reason of why I chose to come back. And I mean, Pete is him and Derek are equally talented coaches. And so it's an adjustment, but it's not like one is worse than the other. It's just something an area that I'm familiar with, because I've been at Oregon before, and then I have, family here as well. And so it's just a choice that I decided to make, just that plays hand in hand with me evolving and growing.
Talk to me about your mentor. You brought him or her up a few times. Can you give us the person's name and kind of what it's about and what your relationship is?
Yes. So her name is Ellen Schmidt-Devlin, and she actually ran at Oregon. She ran the 800 at Oregon. And so the way I met her is that I was an incoming freshman into the summer bridge program at Oregon for, student athletes. And I remember they had three different groups you could kind of participate in, whether it's sports product design or anything dealing with like marketing and like, I guess, graphic design type of things. And there was like a health option. So I chose the sports product design because the options were cool. We visited Nike, we visited Adidas' campus, and we visited Columbia's, and they each had a panel. And she's the one who orchestrated everything. So I was like, this lady has so many connections, and I need her in my life. And so I just immediately emailed her afterwards, not knowing that she ran the 800. And her mentor was Bill Bowerman. So she was actually around when Nike first started.
Wow.
So just having her in my life, and she also is the founder of the product design master's program here in Portland for U of O.
Cool.
So she's a great, hardworking, ambitious woman, but also really loving, and she's just accepted me just like her daughter. And so she played a big part because she teaches me. She brings me around people that I should know, like Claudette Gronendahl and Madeline Manning Mims. Because of her, I met those people. And
cool.
Yeah, so she plays a big part of my life.
Now, talk to us about. Are you going to graduate school, or do you have interest in design? Kind of where are you going with things besides athletics?
So I am an art major. And so I've been bringing my 6-foot paintings everywhere, and putting them in storage because they're huge until I find a studio. Sure. I feel like Portland will be a good place to explore just me getting a studio and seeing how my painting evolves. Mm-hmm. But until then, I've thought about maybe sports broadcast in the future, or even, still working on making sure that I'm keeping up my being bilingual in Spanish. So yeah, that's been the main thing, is kind of sports broadcast that I've so far pointed out that maybe I'm interested in, or whether it's even, if not that, then product design, sports product design, and kind of adding a twist with my artistic side to certain things.
How would you describe your painting style?
Abstract.
Okay. I have a degree in painting, and I love it. So
yeah, cool. I love. It's hard for me to work small, but I really love working big. At Oregon, when you have your final painting for the end of the semester, it's always required it can't be less than 4 feet. So they make you do these over 4 feet paintings, then you have to find a way to transport them home. Yes. And so I've just kind of taken that and ran with it. I've kind of just been on the pause with painting just because I do want to get a space dedicated to evolving in painting. And so I think I'm just ready to stop making excuses and actually finding a place soon to where I can actually paint more.
Do you feel or find that your athletics complements your artistic desires? Is there like a yin and a yang kind of there, or how does it work for you?
I feel like it does. They both go hand in hand in a way that, I would say that, when you're having to present your artwork to the class, you have to be confident in your artwork. And the art world is some of the most intense critics, especially when you're presenting to the class and they have to judge your work and give you constructive criticism that you may not agree with, but you may take into consideration. And that's kind of how track is, you're on the world stage and you're lined up and it's just you and your craft trying to prove to the rest of the world, that you are willing of being respected, or you're just, whether that you are who you say you are. And that's how it is with art, is that a lot of people, they may see it and then you see like a $2 million painting of an apple and you're like, what? But you have to have that confidence in your work. And I've actually noticed that with pricing too. I haven't really gotten deep into it because I feel like that's where that applies the most, is that you have to really try to not price your work less than what you deserve. And you're not going to get people that agree with you all the time, but it's just about what you think that you deserve. And that's, all three of those, life, sports, and art, just have all played that similar, have tied back to that similar, you know, word of just having confidence, which is important for track.
Do you have a favorite painter?
So I was really, for a while, my last painter that I was really into was like Takashi Murakami. And so I was really stoked to like for Tokyo because I didn't know that he went to like the University of Arts, like in Tokyo. And so he's really big there. Of course, big everywhere else, but for a while, I really did like a lot of his work. Just the colors. And of course, like I want to be better because you have to practice more. But I really do admire a lot of his work.
Yeah, there's a new display of one of his paintings at the San Francisco airport. And when I came in the end of May, I got to see it. It's really cool. And it really surprised me too, because it's just a tiny little name tag. Painting's huge, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just going, wow. And I hadn't seen any of his stuff in a while. So you're going through a whole lot of changes right now. And you're also in a time when the world is at this huge change. And pretty much right now, we're not sure whether we're going to see a track season in 20. We may be waiting really to 2021 or 2022. What's your vision of your career? We get to see around till 2028? Is that kind of your dream, or what are you thinking right now?
I would say, I mean, of course, like my vision is to, so my vision is to definitely make 3 teams. And that's definitely something personal for me to share.
Sure.
But it's something that I would hope to accomplish, but I'm still fine with whatever is in store for me. So I want to, whether it's, you know, across a little bit of time or a lot of bit of time, I still want to have the same amount of impact with whatever time I have in the sport.
Okay. All right. I think we've got you down to about 3 questions. So here we go. All right. You're in a room and you've got a group of young women, high school athletes. What would you tell them about how important Oregon was for your development?
So I would tell them how Oregon was really important for my development as a person. And of course, I feel like being your outside life and you outside of track matters just as much as you in your field or your career. And Oregon did that because going away from home really made me grow in a lot of ways. I mean, just being from Houston, going all the way to Eugene, not only are you amongst a whole different culture, you know, the West Coast is different than the South, but it caused me to grow and be around and be exposed to a lot of different people, a lot of different mindsets, perspectives. Oregon in general is just very free and just open. And so I was exposed to a lot of things, or a lot of ways of choices that I wasn't more so exposed to in the South. And so it helped me grow as a person to have, you know, to not like shy away from what was different than what I was raised around, but to consider different perspectives and just be open to a different way of living. And that's what's helped me grow the most. And so any kids that I tell, even my sisters, or in this case, the little girls in the room, I would say, you know, don't be afraid to get away from home, you know, or take an opportunity that will expose you or just show you everything that's out there. You know, it's kind of like blue water. You know, if you're not, you know, you have to go to certain places to see the blue water. And that's what I challenge people to do.
Okay. What's the difference between being a college athlete and a pro athlete?
So the difference is you have to pay for more things. With college, Depending on the situation, college is definitely a set structure. You go to class, you go to practice, you have lifting, you eat, you have a nutritionist. A lot of resources and structure are in college. But once you are out of college and you're professional, that time of class goes away unless you're trying to get your master's. And so you have to be more disciplined with that extra time. And then you also have to make sure that you're having those resources that made you successful in college. And you have to identify those resources, because sometimes you can make that transition to professional, not even realizing what you're lacking. And so it's good to go to, being professional and keep those resources, except you have to pay for them, of having, a massage therapist and sometimes a strength and conditioning coach, or using facilities. So that's the biggest difference. And then it's more individual, of course, when you're professional.
How do you deal with social media? It's a bigger and bigger part of everyday life, and especially with people stuck inside.
Right.
Do you have a philosophy on how you deal with it as an athlete, and then how you let it influence you?
Yeah. So my way and my approach to social media is to be as transparent as possible. And sometimes, of course, it influences me because I still want to be considerate and I want to be transparent, but I definitely know when it's a good time to be transparent. And so I want to make sure I'm respecting, whoever I'm representing, whether it's my family or friends or just Nike, or whatever, to maybe get the same message across of whatever I'm trying to say, or even when I want to post certain things or certain pictures, you still have to be respectful and mindful that it's not just about you. So it's a balance between wanting to be transparent and show yourself and really get people to see who you are away from your profession. That's my approach, but also still being respectful and mindful that it's not just me that I'm representing now.
So I'm going to turn it around just a little bit.
Uh-huh.
You've been interviewed by a lot of different media.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a group of media sitting in the room, what would you tell them you're comfortable talking about? And what do you want media to ask you about? How do you want them to approach interviewing you? Is there a place that, I remember I was talking with one of the 49ers, and we were chatting off the record, and he asked me why I never asked him about his personal life, and I said, well, I'm not People Magazine. I said, and my readers want to know about your sports stuff. Mm-hmm. And I said, and I really believe that athletes and public people should have a personal life. Do you say, this is my business stuff, this is my elite stuff, but I can keep a little kernel that's personal? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, the way I am with my personal life, and just, I don't know. I mean, if I was in a room full of media, of course, I would more so, I feel like I'm more of the type of person to really give solid wisdom and insight about certain things.
Sure.
And it's funny because I have conversations with my friends, this particular friend that I have, and we just talk about something and it becomes this intellectual, just really deep, thoughtful conversation of just, sharing what we think about certain things, whether it's relationships, whether it's what's happening in the world, whether it's our upbringings. We just talk, and it just becomes this great conversation. And so I'm the type of person that I like to have conversation. And whether it's, that's what I mean by when you're trying to be transparent about certain things on social media, you have to be a little bit more mindful of how you say things, because wording matters.
Sure.
But there's a way to do it, to still have conversation and discussion about certain things, whether it's mental health, whether it's what I feel about my upbringing, or, a lot of people don't know, I've been in a lot of small settings. I've been a minority in a lot of settings. I went to a bilingual academy from 1st to 8th grade, where I was like one of maybe 3. I was the only Black person in my class, my graduating class in 8th grade. It was like 20 of us, 23. So, and then I went to private school and high school, and then University of Oregon is not like UT. And so it's definitely a smaller setting. So I've been in small settings a lot. And so having that type of discussion, and really, I like helping others a lot figure out, maybe, just through conversation, things that they may not realize about themselves. And that's just kind of, I like to get people thinking about why they are the way they are, or why they think about things the way they think about things.
Well, we're down to about a minute, but what I would love to do at another time is I'd like to talk with you about mental health, and also about being a minority in a different setting and what people need to be mindful about, because as an old white guy, sometimes it's hard for me to understand, or hard to me to appreciate. I try, but I haven't been there, and I'd like our readers to do that. So with your permission, I'll bug you another time, and
of course.
Talk about other things. But Raevyn, thank you so much for this afternoon. I hope you get unpacked, and put a couple pictures up of some cool stuff of how your apartment looks on Twitter or something, and we'll pass it around for you. Okay?
Of course.
We interviewed Donovan last week, so I'll give him a little bit of trouble about getting your TV up. You got to have a TV. So,
right.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening. And this is Larry Eder, socialing the distance with Raevyn Rogers. She's given us 40 minutes of her time today. Enjoy Portland, Raevyn. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Hey, sports fans, it's Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. We're in San Jose, California. This is the epilogue for Socialing the Distance. We just had Raevyn Rogers. She's the 2019 silver medalist in the World Championships 800 meters in Doha, where she just moved like a sprinter down the last 100 meters in that crazy track in Doha, in that women's 800, taking the silver. She's also the 4x4 member of the gold medal relay winning team USA from Birmingham 2018. She was the Pan Am gold medalist in 2015, University of Oregon graduate, worked with Coach Robert Johnson, one of our faves, and she's now with Pete Julian, another one of our faves. So she's a lot of fun. And one of the things about Raevyn that's really nice is she understands that she's got to deal with people like me to talk about the sport. That's part of her job. She's an elite athlete. She competes for Nike. And that's been one of the great things about all the athletes that we talked to. Raevyn was a lot of fun. We got to talk to her about how much she enjoyed being on the 4x4, how she's an 800-meter runner who likes to run the 400, and how she got to do a lot of different things in college, which was pretty cool. And we talked about Doha and how she came up that last straightaway and ran her own race, and how she's moved from Eugene to Philadelphia, now to Portland, and her furniture and everything just arrived yesterday, so she's had a rather barren apartment. She's waiting for Donovan Brazier to put the TV on the special position so she can actually watch it and check out Netflix. So, Donovan, I'm just passing that message on to you. We interviewed Donovan last week. But what's fun about Raevyn is that you ask her a question and you get a pretty wide-ranging answer, and that's what makes it fun as a member of the media. I also spoke with her about, let me put the little list of questions, shared with you what I talked about. I asked about beat by Coach Johnson, and that was kind of fun to hear. I really like Robert. He's just got a nice way about him. And I asked her to talk about the difference between college life and being a professional athlete. She said you got to pay for more things when you're a professional athlete, and how things have changed under COVID-19. She's working out once a day. She's wearing a mask everywhere, and she gets out of the house a lot, goes outside, because I think she needs a little bit of a break, and there's nothing in the apartment or the place she's living. Some days she's over at the Nike campus. A lot of days they find a park or somewhere else. And right now it's one-on-one training with Coach Julian and Raevyn, because they're trying to, get a feel for each other. That's part of the thing with a coach and athlete. Pete's pretty meticulous and a keen observer, and looks for the little things. When you're trying to help an athlete win a championship, it's those tiny, tiny little things that you can improve on. And that takes observation skills, as Sports Illustrated writer Kenny Moore spoke about so eloquently. What else can we talk about? So she's a lot of fun, and I think we're going to have her back to talk about mental health and issues such as Black Lives Matter and kind of where she sees the world. I think that would be something good for our readers to learn about and to appreciate. But Raevyn's a tremendous athlete. I see her going many places. She's going to be around for a long time. I asked her if she'd be around till 2028. She didn't exactly say that, but she said yes, she wants to make 3 Olympic teams. And she's pretty open to seeing what the plan is, or what fate is, or what God has planned for her. And I think that's pretty cool. She seems very relaxed, wonderful athlete, great interview, a lot of fun to watch compete. And another example of the amazing talent, thoughtfulness, focus, and people that are elite athletes in American track and field. And we're pretty lucky. And I think a lot of times we take it for granted. Team USA track is the best team any sport in the U.S. So much better than NBA basketball, so much better than winning records for even Olympic basketball. The U.S. team is pretty amazing, and it gets better and better, and it's because of the quality of the athletes coming into it and the focus, and because there's a professional for the sport too, it allows the athletes to take the time to develop and to work with coaches and to have trainers and to have good shoes and things like that. All those things add up. So thank the sponsors, thank the fans, thank the coaches, thank the athletes. American track and field is healthy, even in this crazy pandemic. And yes, let me just do this little thing as a public service. This is a mask. Wear it. It's not a political statement. You can wear a mask whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, a communist, a socialist, an anarchist. I don't care what you are. Here's the deal. If you don't have COVID-19, you don't want to give it to somebody. People like me with heart conditions and, cancer survivors and all that stuff, it can kind of mess us up. And you can mess up your grandparents. You can mess up kids. Young kids are getting it too. Just be a good citizen, okay? It's not taking away any rights or anything like that. So don't buy that. We can disagree on other things thoughtfully. I don't want people dying from being stupid. So wear a mask when you're with a big group, when you're outside with a bunch of people and you can't socially distance. Don't be goofy, okay? I want you around so you can watch more socialing the distances, all right? So that's my my speech right now. Thank you for enjoying Socialing the Distance. Thanks for watching us with our past folks, and we've got some fun stuff coming up. Mike Deering, I love you. Thank you for handling me and managing me and all that kind of stuff. Thank you to Adam Johnson Eder for trying to manage his father, which I know is no mean feat. And enjoy all this, and we'll talk with you soon. Take care.